Like what you're hearing? Do you want to hear more? You can. Thanks to the excellent host blogtalkradio.com. You can hear this episode and others later at blogtalkradio.com, Bram Sarkowski. That's blogtalkradio.com/BRAMSARKOWSKI. Check us out. Click the link and get the conversation going. Thanks for listening. You're listening to the Social Spitball Show on blogtalkradio.com with your host, Bram Sarkowski, and featuring co-host Barbara D. Now, let's rejoin the conversation. All right, and this is Bram Sarkowski, back after a break with you, and Barbara D. is on the line. And we have our third guest. Can't believe it's already gotten down to three of three. But we have a Mr. Ron Sanyal on the line, who is running for U.S. Congress in North Carolina's 13th Congressional District. Mr. Sanyal, you on the line?
Yes, sir. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Happy Easter.
Thanks. And happy Easter. So, happy Easter Sunday, Barbara and Bram.
Well, I imagine you probably have heard us talk with your two primary opponents, and we wanted to get your take on the district. It's the 13th district for North Carolina, and I know you've made your way around it a little bit. Wondered if you could share with us your perception of the district and what issues are of most concern to people in that district.
Yes, certainly. My district comprises of 9 counties: Wake, Wayne, Wilson, Edgecombe, Franklin, Granville, Nash, Durham, and Vance. So 9 counties. It's a long stretch, and I go around each county, and it's a beautiful, beautiful scenario. You know, North Carolina is my home, sweet home, but I never get to see these counties. So this is another good way is travel through the rural roads of North Carolina and see North Carolina in its own perspective. And it's kind of diversified, like Wake County is very cosmopolitan, Wilson is very cosmopolitan, and Durham is cosmopolitan, and Nash County is also very cosmopolitan. But there are some rural counties where, you know, we are looking to listen to them as, you know, as we say, God has given 2 ears and 1 tongue. I'm going there and trying to listen to all my constituents, what is their most important 3 issues. And once you listen to them, you make them feel comfortable, they open up to you and trust you. Like what I tell them, that when you commit, you give hope. And when you keep that hope, you build trust. So I'm trying to build a trusting relationship with my constituents.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a wonderful approach to it. What issues you mentioned the top 3 issues? You're listening to their concerns. What are the top 3 issues that maybe are most numerous that you've heard?
Top 3 issues are jobs, jobs, jobs. Everybody is hurting. There's a lot of young people looking for jobs, and they're asking for solutions. And second one is teachers. They're saying, although it is a state issue, but we are losing good teachers because they have cut down on the pays of the teachers, and there is to be incentive. If the teachers had a master's or PhD, they will get reimbursed for their pursuit of higher education. So teachers are living in a row, and this is not good for our children in North Carolina. North Carolina is to be the best in education with Governor Hunt's Smart Start, and now we are falling behind, 44th, 45th in a teacher's salary. And so people are really, really concerned about state of education.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The third thing was, people love affordable health care, but they're a little confused. And what I would say that I work with FDA, Food and Drug Administration, there is something, those who deal with software, is called verification and validation, V&V. That is a standard thing Food and Drug Administration will not let any software product out in the market unless it is verified and validated as an intended use. So what has happened, although affordable care is a must and is good for America, when it was rolled out, I think the softwares were not verified and validated to run as intended. So that was a mistake, and they should know better. But as you start a new process, there's always kinks and bugs. And that is not a rocket scientist. We need to fix that. We just need customers' feedback and take those customer feedback, do a Pareto chart, and see which is number one issue, number two, number three, and take one at a time and solve it. And I think it's an excellent program. So these are the three main issues I'm hearing over and over again. But there are a few more, but we can go that in discussion later on.
Okay, and actually, the next question I was going to ask you, you sort of touched on a little bit. I was just going to say, obviously, you're aware, just like a lot of us are, that North Carolina's been bleeding good teachers, and you touched on that a bit. What do you think you could advocate for in Congress to help public education here in the great North State?
You know, everything in Congress has to be done bipartisan way, and I have a gift of God or something that I make friends. I make friends with Republicans. I make friends with Tea Parties. I make friends with Independents. I make friends. And I think once I go to Congress, I get to sit with other politicians and tell them stories. Tell them, look at the world. I come from India. India, education is the highest. To give an example, like in my family, everybody is a doctor, PhD, and I have a master's degree in pharmacy, so I'm the black sheep of the family. So you can see the importance. Even if you're master's degree, you're still not good enough. So what India does is put the money and investment in children. The professors and the teachers are one of the highest paid in India, more than doctors, engineers, scientists. So we should look into other countries, why they are good. Like any Indian student comes, they're always top of the class. Why? Because they had the best teachers. And how can you retain the best teachers? You have to give incentive for higher education and also give money. Money can help retain good teachers. And my goal would be working with other congressmen to set up a national level that, hey, guys, let's focus on teachers' salary. And where other countries are doing with 1 billion people, and we are the richest country in the world, and we are not investing in education, that's a shame.
Mm. Well, that is a good point. And just for a personal touch, to connect with you, I've got two older brothers who are doctors. One is medical and one is PhD. So I understand about being black sheep in the family a little bit. Maybe not black sheep, but I don't think you are either. But obviously there's difference in education.
Bram, I hear you've been called an angel on earth. So that's not bad either. On an Easter day, I saw the Facebook, you have been called angel on earth. So that's something to think about.
Well, I appreciate it. And just for reference, he's referencing a photo of me in costume as an angel in the Good Friday cantata this past Friday. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Let me bring in Barbara. She's got some questions for you, and I'll be back in just a moment. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, how are you doing, Ron? It's good to hear your voice. Okay. North Carolina is known nationwide for one of the strongest military-friendly states, but Congress has been ignoring the needs of the veterans and their families by shutting down the government, cutting benefits for active military, veterans and their families. What would you do for our veterans and their families in Congress?
First of all, I think we should respect, honor, and take care of the veterans who sacrifice their life for the country. They are just ordinary people, have to go to a foreign land, endure hardships, and especially Iraq and Afghanistan is an unknown place with extreme cold, extreme hot weather, and, any moment they can be blown up. So they sacrifice their life to make America safe. So what are we doing in return? We are not doing much. There has to be a central government plan to take care of these veterans, because if they give their life for us, we should take care of them when they come back. And I think psychological issues, PTSDs, and depression. Depression is something very, very important issue. So we have to get together and ask the government, and I'm willing to pay 1 cent more tax, 1 cent more to help the veterans so that they are well received, well welcomed, and honored, and take care of them. So we'll have to show the country cares, that we care about them.
That's a very good answer. Very good answer. Ukraine, Russia, and Crimea are the latest international situation. Last I looked, it seems like if you don't watch the news every minute, something else is happening. How would you react as a member of Congress to the situation that's going on in Ukraine, Russia, and Crimea?
I have an interesting perspective on that. You have heard about BRIC nation, B-R-I-C. B stands for Brazil, R stands for Russia, I stands for India, C stands for China. These are economic powerhouse, okay? We call BRIC nation. How come Russia is involved and Brazil, India, and China is not doing anything? Why would it be U.S.'s job to fix everything in the whole world? I think other nations to stand up, especially the BRIC nations, and tell Russia that this is not acceptable. If you don't do the right thing, we're going to take steps and we'll come out of the BRIC nations and will not support Russia. So I think really other countries have to step up to the plate because, from small conflict grows bigger conflict. We'll make a mountain out of a molehill. One person shoots one person, other person will shoot, and it will become third world war. So I think what President Barack Obama is doing, playing it cool and negotiate, and we don't want another war because war does not solve anything. Communication, effective communication, understanding, reasoning works. So I would say USA should ask the BRIC nations like Brazil, India, China to help solve these problems, along with the help of USA.
Well, I wonder why they haven't done anything so far. Have you got any idea why they may not have stepped forward and told Russia to stop what they're doing?
Because the thing is, not selfish, but they don't want to get involved outside of their country. They don't want to rule the whole world. They don't want to look like a big brother. So they have their own problems, own issues, and they stick to their internal issues. Do not poke their nose in world affairs. Call it selfish. Call it not as much courage as U.S. has, but they mind their own business.
Okay. The affordable health care, you did touch on that a few minutes ago, but I just wondered, what is your opinion of the Affordable Care Act, and where do you stand? Do you support it? And do you know any way that we can stop them from keep bringing that up over and over and over, other than getting more Democrats in the Congress?
Yeah. Let me. I'm going to do it in part 1, part 2, and part.
Sure.
Part 1. If you squeeze the lemon too many times, it becomes bitter, and the Republicans should know that Affordable Care Act is law of the country. If you want to repeal it, you have to go against the Supreme Court, against the majority, and then have a vote. And that is the wastage of time and negative thing. Because even in India with 1 billion people, nobody dies without doctor's care. And here we are saying the poor people have no rights to have a healthcare system. It's a shame, being the richest country in the world, that we are not encouraging affordable health care. So what Barack Obama has done will go down in the history that he cared for all Americans, not just 1%, but he cared about the 9%. That's part 2. Part 3 is affordable health care. As I said, they should have done their software verification and validation, and that would have been smoother. But when you start a project, there's always kinks. Nothing is perfect, but I'm very, very optimistic, and I support the affordable health care. That by November election, you will see people are singing another tune, that it is the best thing ever happened.
I think you're right, because I know several people that have told me, how much difference it makes to them. And then we've got that other problem with the Medicaid expansion. Would you talk to me about the Medicaid expansion? And I know that in your position as congressman, you wouldn't have that much influence on the states, but then again, you would. And do you have an alternate solution for getting people in our state, the 500,000 that are falling in the gap? Do you have a solution for that?
Yes, I'm shocked and surprised by the attitude of the North Carolina legislators that government gave them money and they didn't want to take it to help their own people in North Carolina. I mean, what kind of logic is that? So I don't understand their logic, but anything Obama or federal government wants to help the state, they have said no. Like affordable health care, I know $73 million was allocated to North Carolina state to educate the public, to how to fill out the forms, what are the requirements. That could create, $73 million could have created a lot of jobs in North Carolina trying to help the affordable health care. But no, the legislators send that money back. To me, that's criminal. That is unhealthy. Why wouldn't you help your own brothers and sisters? And the Christianity tells me you got to help your brothers and sisters. So I think only solution I can think, and I'll be very hard on this, that this coming election, let's change the legislators to Democrats where the Democrats care, and repeal that and get back the Medicaid back to North Carolina.
All right, sounds good. George Holding, the current incumbent. If you win the Democratic primary, you will be running against him. He's got a lot of money from First Citizens Bank. That's his family helped found that. How do you plan to compete with and defeat George Holding? And you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Sleepy.
No, I mean, I'm sure George Holding is a good family man, good Christian. But how can you say no to everything? You know, and like if I go and say, Mr. Holding, there's a earthquake, tornado is coming. You need to go and take shelter. He'll say no. No. So it does not make sense that you're going to die if you don't take shelter when there's a tornado warning. So he's a party of no. He always says no. And the latest bill they passed in Congress with Congresswoman Renee Elmers, and he voted to spill the coal ash in the little rivers and streams. That's criminal. That's against Mother Nature. That's what assault on Mother Nature, because water is our fundamental to our living. Without water, plant life cannot survive, ecology cannot survive, and they're dumping poison. Like you're offering me a glass of lemonade and you're putting the radiator liquid, in that. So I am completely embarrassed, and I wish I have a debate with him so I can say, Mr. Holden, tell me one thing you have done for North Carolina that can make a person happy. And I would like to ask that question.
Marriage equality. Where do you stand on marriage equality? Do you think that marriage equality should be legalized nationwide and just go ahead and get it over with so we quit having all these discrepancies between the states? You know, if you get married in one state and you move somewhere else, if you're gay or lesbian, then it means that you're not recognized in another state. Where do you stand on that?
I just amazement. If you are a forecaster, this is coming, this is going to happen, so why not do it now without hurting people? Because love has no boundaries. If you love somebody, that has no boundaries. So you can love anybody. Who are we to judge? We are not God. We are just people, So anybody should be, and this is America. You can love anybody in the world. And who are we to judge? So I think that is inevitable, like the don't ask, don't tell, that got repealed. And so it is inevitable. So why keep these people through miseries? Let them have any happy life like anybody else, like any citizen in the United States. So I am for the LGBT proposal that they can marry.
All right. You've got two ladies that are also running for this office. What makes you stand out, and what can you offer to the potential voters? What is different about you from the two ladies that are running?
Yeah, this Brenda Connolly and Virginia Collins. They are wonderful ladies, and I respect ladies, and they are wonderful people, knowledgeable, caring, and understanding people. But only difference I can see that my 20 years of service to the Democratic Party, at bad times, good times, I've given my 20 years of life to Democratic Party as precinct chair, state coordinator, state executive committee member, North Carolina Democratic Party council member. That's the highest you can reach. And then by landslide, I won. I went to Charlotte Convention as DNC delegate. To me, that was my American dream, and I fulfilled it with my hard work. So my last American days will be U.S. Congressman because we care. And that's the difference, my service to Democratic Party, bad times, good times.
All right. Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you were originally from, your family, your career, what you do now besides running for Congress. Tell me a little bit about yourself for the people that are listening.
Yes, I came from India, Calcutta, Mother Teresa's city, and with a $7.50 and one suitcase to America, and I had the confidence to invest that $7.50 into the American dream, and today I'm a successful man. I'm married with a princess and two golden sons, and they all went to public school and public universities. And I am an industrial pharmacist, and I worked in multi-billion-dollar companies, corporate companies, international companies as regulatory compliance, regulatory affairs, and quality assurance. So, in other words, like if we have to get a medical device drug into the market, I was a liaison between the manufacturer and Food and Drug Administration. So, unless the product is good, it will not be going out to the market. Like I said, any software we had, unless we verified and validated, it cannot go out to the market. So, my experience is in pharmaceutical companies, and I worked for 35 years, and then I said, hey, what am I doing? I've seen the corporate world, I've seen everything. Now it is time, as an immigrant, that America has been good to me. I got to give something back. So I love soccer, which in our international world they call football, and there's a capital area soccer league here. I was coach for 9 years. Our team name was Buccaneers, and we won all the state championship or any tournament we went. So I thought that, hey, how can we promote education through soccer? So I talked to Castle that, hey, if I can get some underprivileged kids, at-risk kids, I talked to the police, I talked to the judges, like for stealing $5, don't put them in jail. Give it to me. I'll teach them free for 3 months and give them a certificate and, so long they stay in school. So in other words, through soccer, I was promoting education. And so I believe in the best of the best. So I went to Brazil and got the highest international FIFA license, A, B, and C. I can teach any MLS team or any country national team. But I chose. Money is not everything to me. I'm a philanthropist. I'm more interested in development of a child through sports and education. So I retired early and engaged, and not only in USA, but I went to India and developed a soccer academy for the villagers in a village, so that through soccer players get paid more than doctors, scientists. So I said, ticket out of poverty would be to be a good soccer player, good training, and I can place them in first division clubs. But they have to stay in school. They get a free meal, lunch, because they don't know when their dinner is going to come from. So at least lunch is given by the government of India if you attend school. And evening is another story. So hunger, I don't want any children go hungry to bed, because if you are hungry, your brain does not function. You cannot study. So country like America, people go hungry. Some families go hungry. They are so proud they'll not take welfare, they'll not ask for food stamps. So I want every opportunity for these kids to grow up and be successful like I am.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ron. I had one other question for you, and then we'll have to close out your segment. You mentioned your background in pharmacology or pharmaceuticals as an industrial pharmacist. The medical marijuana, or just the legalization of marijuana in general, Washington and Colorado recently passed that, made it legal in their states. Where do you stand on the legalization of marijuana? Would you go so far as to say, we should probably have a legalization federally, or would you say more decriminalization of marijuana?
Okay, let me start with a little story. I come from land of marijuana, India, okay? There, it is controlled by government stores, and usually the recipients are all grandparents who cannot fall asleep, or have rheumatic pain, or tremendous chronic asthma, or rheumatism. So it is sold by the government-controlled stores. Like I can go and get for my grandma, grandpa a little bit of marijuana so that they can fall asleep. So, like in India, it's no big deal. Okay. Now, medical marijuana has some medical therapeutic values. Okay, we are talking about taking care of our veterans coming back from war, traumatized. Medical marijuana can help them calm down or have tranquility. Okay. At the same time, I want medical marijuana to be prescription drug, and forget criminalization, because we are putting emphasis where it does not belong. We need to put more emphasis on education and nutrition and other things. So my thing is, no, don't waste your time and energy on putting people to jail for 1 ounce of marijuana. It's not. But I would recommend, please don't drive when you smoke marijuana.
Right.
Take those common sense basic steps. But to me, it's inevitable. In 10 years, you will see that marijuana is just like any other thing, controlled substance.
Okay, so you would say that in legalizing it federally, then you'd be able to regulate it, and then obviously tax revenue would come from it as well.
Yes.
Kind of like alcohol, cigarettes, and things like that.
Yes.
Okay.
And it is inevitable. It is coming. Nobody can stop it.
Okay. All right. Well, that's about all the time we got for issues. Ron, I thank you for being on. I'm sure Barbara does as well. This is the third of 3, and like you heard earlier with Mr. Stewart and Mr. Messina, we always extend the courtesy of letting you plug for your campaign. So if you would like to direct folks to your website, to Twitter, social media, things like that, how can they help you get out the vote, donate, etc.?
Now, I just ask people, I know people are going through hard times. Money is not easy, difficult to share, but miracle happens. Like on Easter, somebody from Iowa donated money to me, and so I'm on the Facebook. My website is www.Sanyal for Congress, SANYAL for Congress.com, and it's very easy. If you go in there, they take credit cards and everything. So whatever you can, I know all of you are going through hardships, but any amount would be appreciated. There's no minimum or maximum. Whatever your heart desires will be highly appreciated. And I can tell you that I will live up to your expectations. And thank you, and God bless North Carolina.
Okay. Well,
all right.
Thank you, Ron, and we will ask that, if you have the time, if you want to stick around, we're going to have an open discussion with whoever's on the line, and we'll do that right after this break.
And
thank you, Ron.
Okay. Sure.
I just wanted to say that Barbara and Bram, whatever you're doing for voter education and voter knowledge enrichment, I think it works. I think a lot of voters are interested now to vote. So thank you, Bram and Barbara.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron. All right, folks, we'll be right back after